on the sea, somewhere waiting for me.
Welcome to BPTV. I'm your host, Andy Amrine, and today we are talking about our event, the event of the year for Bethel Park, and that's our July 27th Art and Music Festival. And today we have one of our musicians, Rick Purcell. And Rick, welcome to BPTV. But
it's a pleasure to be here.
Let's start by can you tell our viewing audience who you are? Give us a little bit of introduction, a little bit of background.
I'm a lifelong musician. I started taking piano and trumpet lessons in grade school. When I got to high school, I was playing, of course, in the band and orchestra. I was on trumpet. I played in the all-city band and orchestras. But I also was working in the weekend in high school with the band playing keyboard.
Started early.
Graduated from South Hills High School and went on to Carnegie Mellon University. My first 3 years at Carnegie Mellon, I had an 8-piece band, like a Chicago-style band, and we were working 5-6 nights a week. So it was pretty tough going to school, but we got through it. The only way we really got through it is, that's the only time in my life I had roadies. We paid 2 guys $5 a night, a sound man $10 a night, and we walked in 5 minutes before the job and left 5 minutes after. When I got to my senior year, I had to play a concerto with the orchestra, a senior recital, and other things, so I quit having the band. But when I graduated from college, a bunch of us put a band together, and we went on the road for actually 5 years.
Wow. Okay.
That's back then. You could go play at a hotel anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, 6 nights a week. You got free rooms, free food, and not just in big cities. We used to play hotels on interstates in the middle of nowhere, 6 nights a week. So it was wonderful. We got to see the whole country. We were in Las Vegas, we were in Miami, we were New England, Chicago. We even played a month on the island of Aruba.
Very nice.
Unfortunately, well, I got off in '78 because I just gotten married about 6 months before that. And we had a time where we had recorded an album for Epic Records. Now, this is 1977. Back then, the record companies had tons of cash. So they sent us to a recording studio in Providence, Rhode Island it was over a week. They paid for the hotels, they paid for the meals, they paid for our beer, they paid for the entire recording session. And for about 6 months, we kept getting notices from Epic, your album's going through the pipeline. It's looking good, it's looking good. We were in Las Vegas in March of '78, and the guy called us and said, it dropped out of the pipeline. And that's kind of when the band started to break up, because it had been 5 years.
Okay.
When we started, it was a 6-piece band. By the time this happened, it was a 12-piece band because everybody was married, and sometimes the spouses thought they knew more than we did. So it was time to come home, and my wife and I wanted to come back to Pittsburgh. My dad was a musician all his life and had a kind of a booking service. I was in business with him for 26 years. We played weddings, we played conventions, company parties, and we booked other musicians for those things. We would contract big bands for things like Sonny and Cher, Tom Jones, Engelbert Humperdinck, James Brown, lots of stars, Bobby Vinton. And that went on for a while, and my dad retired in 2004, and then I just been doing it on my own since then. And I'm still sort of busy. I'm getting up there in years, but I'm still working 3 or 4 times a week. And
sounds like a great passion.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
So what do you personally, in your current band that you have, that you're going to be playing here in Bethel Park for? Are you sax, keyboard, singing, trumpets?
I'll be doing
what can
keyboards.
People expect?
And there'll be a saxophone player. And I said his name's George Clore. He's a Bethel Park resident the last 15 years.
Wonderful.
And he's also been playing with me since 1982. So we've been around the block a few times. He's also president of the Musicians Union the last 21 years, which is nice. He does a good job. The drummer's name is Richie Bowles. He was a dentist. In fact, he had an office down on Fort Koch Road for years. And then he moved up to Wexford, and now he's retired, but he plays drums. He's a fantastic drummer. And I was just booking a trio, but I found out that the singer I work with, Donna Groom, was not going to be out of town. She and I have done hundreds of duo and trio things together, so I'm putting her in too. She can play some keyboard, she'll sing some. When she's there, she sits down at the keyboard a little bit, and I can pick out my flugelhorn, which is a nice jazz trumpet, and do some things with the sax player. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll play some jazz, we'll play some like pop, but like things like Dionne Warwick or, you know, what I call the nice songs, you know,
Okay.
the good songs, the songs with like great melody and great harmony and stuff. We're not going to do any rap. I'll tell you.
Okay. Wouldn't
That's good
expect
for who wants to do that, yeah.
Okay.
But it's a lot of fun, and I'm still, occasionally I still do like a big band. I've been doing the Bishop's Medallion Ball. That's a big ball.
It's a big ball here in
The
Pittsburgh.
day after Thanksgiving this year coming up will be my 25th consecutive time doing that. And before that, my dad did it for about 20, 25 years. Just a couple weeks ago at Father's Day, I did the Cinderella Ball, and I've been doing that now for about 20 years. And that's with a 12-piece band. I do solo piano work. Dawn and I do a duo thing. I'll do a jazz trio with the sax player and drummer. So it's pretty much whatever the situation calls for. You know, it's not very many public things. We actually, in the last 10, 12 years, we're doing a lot of retirement communities. That's become a big market for musicians. You get a 1-hour afternoon during the week. I'm doing one today from 2 to 3. I did one yesterday from 2 to 3. I never worked weekday afternoons except in December until I started doing this. I would never work on a weekday afternoon. I'd be home doing office work or taking the kids doing something. You know, we have two. My wife Vera is a realtor. She works for Howard Hanna in Mount Lebanon. We have 2 children. My son is now 43. I can't believe that. He lives in Los Angeles with his wife. They've been out there for 16 years. My daughter works retail, and she just recently got married to a Marine, and he's now just got assigned to Fort Worth, Texas. They just got married a couple months ago. And she can't even get down and be with him until the 1st of August. He has to be there for a month in the barracks. When you're with the military,
Do what they
the
say.
military rules. He was in a training for about 2 months almost to be an airline mechanic, and she could only go down one weekend each month. The guys were sequestered, or girls if they're down there doing their thing. So we're learning a lot about how to deal with the military.
You'll get there.
They rule, you know.
So do you have a favorite instrument that you play? Or
Oh, I
know
love
you
playing
play
keyboard.
Everything. The
Yeah,
keyboard's
no,
your favorite?
I just play keyboard and trumpet.
Okay.
That's enough. I'll never forget one time I was playing at Jackson's at South Point.
Okay.
I took a break and a guy came up to me. I was working with another singer at that time, Sherry Richards. And he said, "You play very good keyboard. How many instruments do you play?" I said, "Well, I play keyboard and a little trumpet." He goes, "I find that hard to believe. Most accomplished musicians play multiple instruments." I looked at him, I said, "Name one." He couldn't name anyone. So I'm like, Doc Severinsen trumpet, Isaac Stern cello, you know, Eric Clapton guitar. I said, if I ever learn to play these, I might try something else.
When how old were you when you decided this is really something you wanted to do?
I think I was in high school.
No.
I knew I wanted to go to music school and I wanted to be a musician because I saw my dad. He enjoyed what he was doing. He made a good living. And he was home. His office was in the house. Mine's in the house. My wife, when we first had our first child, she had a day job working in the corporate Howard Hanna. So I was home with this young son. I changed a lot of diapers, took him to his first ball game, first movies. When the daughter got born in 1992, when she was born, she was now selling, so she had more flexible hours. But we did a lot of sharing the child rearing, which I really enjoyed, and it worked out, you know.
Do you remember some of your favorite jobs or people you performed with?
The nicest star I ever worked for was Bobby Vinton. I
Okay.
probably worked for him 4 or 5 times down at the Mountaineer Casino.
Okay.
And I know we did one thing with him at Greensburg at the Palace and one time at Sheraton Station Square. But I'll never forget the first time we worked for him. We had about 12 musicians. His son was a bass player and he conducted the band. And we're going through the rehearsal and this guy's walking around on the stage. He has his hat way down, his collar way up. I don't know, who is this guy? And all of a sudden he runs up and goes, "Stop, second trumpet, that's an E natural in the second measure of the bridge on an E flat." Well, here was Bobby. And here he wrote his own arrangements. And we all went like, okay. You know, we sat up real straight. But he was actually an oboe major at Duquesne. And on the show, he did a big band medley where he played clarinet and sax, and he played pretty good. In fact, his clarinet playing was really good, you know. But he was super sweet, you know. Most of them were nice. I haven't. Smokey Robinson, I worked for him a few times, very nice. Anne Murray was very nice. Played for the Temptations many times. I can't think of one of them that was really not really that bad, you know. Most of them are nice. Wayne Newton, I just worked for him back in March over at the Carnegie Library in Homestead. 82 years old. They have a steady 3 days a week, Monday through Wednesday in Las Vegas, and they go out every weekend and play shows. I mean, they were in New Jersey on Friday and drove to Pittsburgh for the Saturday show. I'm thinking, why is he still doing this? And he just told me, he says, I like it.
Yeah.
And his wife's with him on the show. And he said, I just love doing it. I don't know what else I'd do.
There you go. It has to be a passion for
Yeah,
you.
I think that music has that, you know. And a lot of musicians seem to work well into their 80s if they're healthy. We're not looking to retire, you know. In fact, I've never made a dime on anything other than music. I've either played music, wrote arrangements for people, contracted other musicians. And one time recently, a guy at church looked at me and said, when are you going to retire? And I said to him, I'd have to get a job first.
Perfect.
I'm going to retire from myself, look in the mirror and say, I quit. That's the one time the guy in the mirror would say, no, you
No,
don't.
not. So when did you first hear about our Art and Music Festival?
From Lynn.
Okay.
And like I said, my wife being a realtor, she actually sold Lynn and her husband a couple houses, I think, over the years.
Okay.
And Lynn called her, and then for about something, they said, can I talk to Rick? And I got on. She said, would you be interested in playing at this festival? I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, you're our sister, you know, you're our next door neighbor. I'm in Mount Lebanon. We have a nice community of communities out here, and anytime we can be together on things, it's wonderful.
Well, we're very excited about the event. We're expecting a very nice crowd, thousands of people for it.
Well, I heard you said 8 different musical
8
groups?
different groups.
Plus artists?
Throughout the day, we have over 90 artists.
That's
in the
that's
two-
incredible. That's
the
great.
schoolhouse and the community center, and you're going to be in the gazebo, the brand new big gazebo. The bands are going to be the first ones ever using it, and you're playing out looking over top of a football field, where we'll pack the football field for you with people that are just shopping the artists and the splash pad and
That's
enjoying the
just
day, and
incredible.
dozen food trucks and everything else on it. So we're really looking forward to a really nice
I always
community day.
have loved Pittsburgh because it has everything a big city has, but it's really not that big.
Yeah.
You don't have traffic like you do in Washington or New York or Chicago or LA or San Francisco. In the communities, everybody seems to know each other. A few people don't like that, but I happen to like that.
Right.
You know? You walk up and down the street in Mount Lebanon, almost always invariably somebody from church or somebody I know somewhere else, and you talk for a few minutes. We're very fortunate here, I think.
We're very much looking forward to hearing you. And do you know what time you're playing? Afternoon?
Our schedule was 1:30 to 3.
1:30 to 3, so that'll be a nice.
I took
Nice hour
1:30
and
to
a half
3
of-
thinking I'd get a Saturday night job, but that's the one Saturday I'm not working this month at night. So,
Well,
so I'm working in the afternoon.
so you can just
I
hang
can-
out at the Arts Festival.
Yeah, I
the
can
rest of
hang
the
out
day.
for a while, and then my wife and I can go to dinner or something.
Yeah,
You know?
there you go.
Nothing
Well,
wrong with that.
No,
you know.
nothing at all. Well, Rick, I appreciate you taking the time to stop by BPTV with us and share your story with our residents. And we're very much looking forward to having you part of our celebration and our first annual. So we'll have more.
Yes.
And we'll have you back in
That would be
the
great.
following year on it. But looking forward to hearing your music and your band, your group. And it's going to be fun.
Always.
All right.
That's one thing. When I'm playing music, it's always fun.
That's what we're
I
counting
kind
on.
of tease people once in a while. I tell them the music's free. I charge a lot of money to set up and tear down.
Okay.
You know,
It's a good way to put it.
because when you're playing, it's enjoyable.
Good.
You know.
Well, I look forward to hearing you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure.
Okay. And everybody, thank you for tuning in to BPTV. I'm your host, Andy Amrine, and we'll see you around town soon.